Hello, and welcome to a video on Echo Point Nova. Now, I'm new to this type of video, so I'm not sure whether to call this an overview or a review. Anything under the umbrella should work. Anyway, what I'm actually here to say is that there will be spoilers. Obviously, I am doing a video on the game, but if there's like major spoilers that you don't want to worry about, I will do like timestamps. There's not many major spoilers, but I'm sure you don't want to see like the end game boss or anything like that. But yeah, let's just get this started and talk about the movement. Now, starting off this little movement section is going to be the multi-jump. Now, the reason I'm not calling it a double jump is because you can eventually jump like 5 times, and that's amazing and all. It's kind of like the basic thing. There's going to be a double jump in a movement game, or, generally there will be jumping, stuff like that. Of course there will be jumping. What am I saying? Anyway, moving on from the boring thing. I mean, jumping 5 times is cool and all, but what's better is having a grapple, okay? You can grapple onto clouds in this game, bro. That's awesome. Of course, you can grapple everywhere else, onto enemies, all that good stuff. There's robotic enemies, and we'll get more into that later, that are very fun to grapple onto because you feel like you're in Attack on Titan or in Titanfall, of course. Of course, Titanfall 3 will come out. Okay, anyway, moving on from that. Everybody loves a grapple. But here's the main catch. There's a hoverboard. You are on this hoverboard like 90% of the game, and whenever you're sprinting, you're on a hoverboard because that's your shift key. It is just amazing. You can grind on walls, and one thing that makes grinding so much more satisfying in this game is there's a perk, we'll get more into that later, that will make it so every second you're grinding on the wall, it gives you a round, a bullet, and it just sounds so satisfying to grind on a wall and just hear ching ching. You know what? Whatever. I don't really need to make the sound, but you know what I'm talking about. At least you will know more. This hoverboard will make you feel so fast. Use the grapple while you're on the hoverboard to touch the ground. That's not what I meant to say. You grapple the ground on the hoverboard and you will start flying forward because your speed is just so immense. Okay, it is amazing. And what adds on more to the movement is the RPG. Once you unlock the RPG in this game, it is beautiful because I figured this out in the game. I don't know if this is supposed to be in the game, but I'm not sure. I grappled onto my rocket and flew forward. I do not think it's supposed to be in the game, but it's an object you can grapple onto and you have infinite movement because you're flying forward infinitely because it doesn't go away until it breaks. And it's just so amazing. We'll get more into the weapons later, but next thing on the movement list is the slow motion. Now, I didn't enjoy the slow motion a whole lot. There was one way I started to enjoy it, but I'll get into that in a minute. Slow motion, basic thing. It's one of your basic abilities. I assume a lot of people use it a lot. I didn't because I didn't like it. I pressed slow motion, which is your E key. If you're on keyboard, I don't know if you can be on controller, but it will slow everything down. The reason, obviously it's slow motion. The reason I didn't like it was because I didn't have a way to turn it off when I wanted to. There is a bar that will go away. I'm sure there's a way to turn it off. I just never figured it out throughout like my 9 hours of playing the game, and it kind of annoyed the crap out of me. But there was this perk that made it amazing. There was this perk that makes you, of course, like I said, we'll get into perks later on, but let's talk just a little bit. There's this perk that when you flip, oh my gosh, I forgot to talk about flipping. You can flip in this game. It'll be in the background. You can flip, like do 360 or 360s. You can do front flips, back flips. I think you can do back flips. I'm pretty sure, but you can flip around and be upside down. It's pretty sick. Anyway, there's this perk that will make it so when you are flipped or doing a flip or upside down, one of the two, it will go in slow motion. And it just is so much better because you can stop the slow motion whenever you want. And it's also infinite slow motion for some reason. I guess it is. It doesn't take down your bar. And it's just very fun, makes slow motion better, makes flipping more enjoyable, because sometimes throughout the game, I did find myself flipping around, which did mess with my movement a little bit, because I would accidentally flip upside down midair, because it's very easy to do that when you're trying to look down at an enemy. And when you have slow motion, it makes it a little better. The flipping slow motion. Negative thing is, sometimes you randomly go into slow motion. So yeah, the movement is amazing. There are little things that kind of mess with me, but it's okay. Alright, so the next little section here is how the guns felt. Now, I'm not going to talk about the guns completely yet. We will get to there at some point, do not worry. But how skilled do you need to be in this game to actually use the guns? I would say, I don't know, I was on the highest difficulty. I don't know if that changes how the guns work or like how forgiving it is for if a bullet hits. But you are flying like 100 miles an hour constantly in this game. So you're going to need to like move, turn your head a lot. high sensitivity, high FOV, all that good stuff. Of course, it might just be something bad for some people. But I think you do need to be decently skilled if you are on high difficulty. But yeah, it's not super forgiving. There are perks that will help you, like with the sniper, I was doing terrible, but there was a perk that helped me out a lot. But we're not really going to talk about that perk. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. I don't know. Sometimes I want to leave things up to you guys to find if you get the game. But, okay, how the guns actually felt. Like, how did they feel when they slammed against my shoulder when I shot them? The recoil. I don't think there really was recoil, which is perfect for a very fast movement game because I do not want to worry about recoil in the middle of a game. Now, there is a little bit, but there's not like I'm playing CSGO and my gun is flying out of my hand type of recoil. It was fun to use while moving at 9,000 miles per hour, and I thought that was all fun. Let's get on to Chapter 2 and start talking about the enemy variety and bosses. Alright, so on to enemy variety. There are basic soldiers, which just kind of run around on the ground a little bit, shoot at you. That's pretty much it. Sometimes they're, maybe not sometimes, most of the time they're stationary, and you can just grapple onto them, kill them. Really easy kills, but they can also sometimes get you when you're too worried about other enemies, like the hoverboard enemies, which are ones that will obviously fly around on a hoverboard and do a lot more movement. There are some issues with the hoverboard enemies that I had, and they were getting stuck against the wall for some reason. They would just get stuck and not move, or like stuck against an object, which is really weird for a fully released game, but things happen, bugs happen, can be fixed later on, honestly. It wasn't that big of a deal and did not hurt my gameplay at all. Then there are the grapple soldiers, which grapple around, and I think they can grapple onto you. I am not fully sure. I don't actually think, take that with a grain of salt. Maybe, maybe not. But there are grapple soldiers that grapple around, and they really weren't much to worry about. The only thing is that they were also kind of bugged. They, I guess, would grapple through the ground. Like if you were on a high platform and then there was ground below them, they would grapple to that ground and just be stuck rubbing against the floor, which was really weird. And honestly, like I said about the hoverboard, bugs happen, can be fixed. Didn't really mess with my gameplay. Next are the shield soldiers, which were really, really annoying for me because I don't like them. They have shields, and you have to shoot the big bubble before you can get to them, or you can fly through there and slam into them with your hoverboard and kick them out of it. Still, slowed down my gameplay, but that's the point of them. Honestly, it didn't hurt my gameplay. I'm just saying it slowed it down, which isn't fully a negative thing because that's their job. They're there to be annoying. But honestly, not too bad. There were two different types of shield soldiers, ones that run around and ones that were stationary inside their bubble. There is a perk that will destroy shields the first shot, which is a sniper perk, and it was very fun to use because I hate those stupid shield pieces of garbage. I hate them the most, actually. They're the ones that I despise. Oh, do I hate them the most? Actually, the next one is like this little magic dude, sorcerer kind of guy. He moved around a lot and mocked me every time he did. It made me sad, and he kept shooting spells at me like some stupid little wizard. And like he was Spider-Man mocking me with everything he told me. It made me mad. But yeah, there's that guy. He was very interesting, a very unique and cool soldier to deal with.
Future quirky here, I did forget to mention like 2 or 3, but honestly, it's not that big of a deal. I still dove into the more important ones, and yeah, you will find them if you get the game or if you watch some gameplay or watch my streams. So yeah, continuing on.
Then there are the mechs. Now, I brought this up earlier. They're mechs, and they have weak points on their bodies, and it's very fun. I think they have weak points on their back. No, I don't think so. I think they just have it on the top when you go over top of them. Coolest thing ever, grappling up, like going upwards, like grappling onto a cloud or like zooming upwards somehow in some way above them, doing a flip, shooting into their weak point, and it's just perfect. It feels so amazing, and it makes you feel so powerful. All of these enemies generally make you feel powerful, and that you can also lose because sometimes you get distracted like an idiot and die or run out of ammo and then not know what you're doing and then die, because that's how games work. Then there are the ships. Ships are cool. Little buggy. I would grapple onto them and it would like hook me to their entity, or however I would say it, and it kind of moved me with them even though I wasn't on top of them and I wasn't grappled to them. But it was cool getting on top of them, running on their backs and then shooting their weak points. That was cool. Only problem is I would get like hooked to their entity and move around with them, and it almost got me killed a few times. I don't think it did, but that did mess with my gameplay a little bit and bothered me, and it was very noticeable every single time because I wasn't doing that movement and the game was forcing me to. Now, time for the last one I remember, the basic enemy variety, is the giant mechs. Now, there are the mechs, and then there are big, gigantic mechs, and they're cool. They are the ones with the weak points on their back, actually, and the top. They're interesting, they're big, they're annoying, they shoot rockets, I think, and it just is very bothersome. There are actually a few types of mechs I forgot to bring up. There are the ones I think that shoot basic bullets, and then there are rocket mechs that don't have weak points, and I think they're a little smaller. I think they shoot rockets. Honestly, I don't fully remember, but you will see in the background what I'm talking about. The ones without the hit mark, or the ones without the weak points, will be annoying because you have to shoot them a whole lot more. Honestly, not too big of a deal. It was fun to kill them because I got my revenge and I hated those guys too. Now, moving on to the bosses. The bosses were the main thing that I thought were so fun because they're not basic bosses. You're not like fighting some basic person that you have to fly around and just like shred. They're not like bullet sponges, and that's just fun. We don't want bullet sponge bosses. This boss is a boss you can grapple around on, and it is so fun. There are like weak points you have to hit throughout the thing. Maybe there's like 12 you have to hit, and there's enemies on top of them. It's like they're a platform of them, like in and of itself. They are a platform. I don't know if I use that term correctly, but they're a platform. Enemies on top of them. You're flying around through inside the enemy, or inside the boss, or outside of the boss, wherever you want to fly from, and you're destroying all of those weak points, and it's very, very fun. They aren't stationary either. Most of them aren't. They will be moving around in a circle in the giant area that they were given, and it is just a blast to fight them. Alright, so spoiler alert, because we are going to be getting into the specifics of the bosses. So, starting off is the sand boss, which is a worm or a train. Now, going back just a second, there are multiple biomes. There's the grasslands, the sand area, the snow area, and the volcano, and then something a little extra that I'll say at the end here after this little section. Sand boss. There's no grass boss. Okay, sand, worm, train thing. Very fun, flying through it. First boss that you encounter, so it's the first time you understand like the ways it works. You're like, oh my gosh, these gigantic behemoths, I'm supposed to just take out their weak points, and they're not just meat sponges. Meat sponges is not what I meant to say. I meant to say bullet sponge. Don't say meat sponge. That sounds weird. Anyway, very fun to take down. Feels like you are against absolutely everything. You're against an army because there's constantly enemies just inside of there, and you're trying to conserve your health, survive all these turrets, survive all different types of enemies. Very awesome. Okay, moving on to the snow boss. You kind of have a little bit more experience. You know what you're getting into. Wait, no you don't. It's flying. This one was really annoying. I kept having to go into the air every time I fell or every time I died, which was super, super annoying. But at some point, you kind of get it down. You understand what you're doing. You take it out. It's very annoying because this one shoots giant balls of doom. Sounds weird to say out loud, but that's what it is. They're shooting giant balls of doom at you, and they don't stop, and they practically take out all of your health almost in one shot, which is scary. Sucks. I died to it the most. That piece of crap. I hate that stupid snow ship bug thing. Moving on to the volcano boss, which is, I think, a worm, and it kind of like slithers up and down, so like maybe a snake. I don't know. It's in a volcano. It like moves up and down, like you'll see it on the screen. It was very annoying. I think it was kind of buggy. It's hard to take out weak points, but it was kind of easy. I mean, it was hard to take out weak points, but I did it in like a few tries, not very many at all. So it was kind of disappointing that it was super buggy inside of a volcano. I thought the area was sick. Definitely cooler than the snow and the desert one because it has its own different type of area. Now, moving on to the last zone, the space area that you unlock after killing the other 3 bosses and getting all the artifacts that you need to find in the game, which I haven't talked about because you don't really need to know about those because you're going to be playing the game, I presume. But yeah, there's little areas you need to get artifacts to eventually unlock this giant thing that will make it so you can go into space and fight the giant satellite boss, which sounds super sick and takes forever to get up to the boss because you're actually grappling from like pieces of debris to get up there. It seems like it's going to be the best fight. It's going to be super hard. And then you do it in one try and you're super disappointed because it wasn't that hard. And honestly, that could just be me. It depends on how much you play games. I play games a lot and I played it on the hardest difficulty. So could depend on you. Some of these could be harder for you than they were for me, which is just how games work. But for me, in specific, this boss was really easy, and I did it in first try. I didn't expect it to be the end of the game either because the credits started rolling right afterwards, and it was really disappointing. But what saved it is the post-game, which I'll be getting into later, but not yet. So those are the bosses. Some were disappointing. They were fun, though. Not really like the main thing. I did love the bosses so much. They were really fun. Honestly, the levels that you did for each little area was just a whole lot better. Okay, moving on to chapter 3. So here we are, finally talking about the guns. It's what, like about, we're forever in, it's 15 minutes in, we're talking about the guns finally. There are multiple sections of guns. I think there's SMGs, pistols, ARs, shotguns, snipers, and then explosives. I said pistols, yeah. I think I said everything correctly. They are awesome to use. There is those sections and you get to use all those weapons. You don't have to like change out your loadout specifically like, oh, I can't use a shotgun because I have an AR. No, you can select those whenever you want. The only thing you need to change is this specific AR. So there's an AR you get to choose for, you get an AR section and then there's ARs to choose from. That'll take up your slot. There are a bunch of fun ARs. They're LMGs, and then there's a LMG, which is very fun. But honestly, all of these weapons are amazing. I'm not going to get too specific into the guns, or we will be in here forever. But there are post-game weapons, which, spoilers, okay? A little bit of a spoiler. There's two. There's two weapons that you unlock post-game. One of them being an explosive sniper, and then the other being an extremely fast SMG, which were both really fun. And they're both my favorites of their category. It's just very fun to play with, very enjoyable. The rocket launcher, I think you can rocket jump. I'm not fully sure, but they will be on screen and I'll edit in if it is true or not. But honestly, the rocket riding is all you really need. Just grapple onto the rocket and fly away forever. Moving on to the perks. So there are perks in this game that will change how the game works almost entirely. There are perks that'll make it so when you grind on walls, you will gain rounds or bullets, which I already told you about. But then there are perks that will change the game completely, which are available in post-game. They will make it where it's gun game all the time, or like certain levels never end, or all levels that you activate never end, and you just constantly get to play them as long as you want, and it's just very fun time. I did use that one quite a bit, and I loved using the gun game. Moving on back to the basic perks, which I can't remember super well, but there are some that are very fun, like the shooting through the bubbles with the sniper. Honestly, it's going to be hard for me to remember some of these perks because they all felt like base game to me after a while of using them. But there are like some smaller ones, like if you melee an enemy, you will get 3 times the loot. You'll get 3 times the loot and health and all that stuff. Forgot to say there is meleeing in this game. It's not super important. You'll learn that on very early. I forgot there's mining in this game as well, which I didn't talk about. Honestly, it's still not super important, but you do have to mine through sections to get to little artifacts and other things that I'll get into in a second. Anyway, perks, very fun. A lot of them change how you play the game entirely, which I kind of suck at explaining because I can't think of the perks in specific. One of the perks, when you're aiming, it'll keep you like in the air. It is interesting, changes how you play. There's the one that makes it, when you flip, it's slow motion. I'm not really selling the perks right now, but trust me, there are a bunch of different perks. Very fun, very enjoyable. Honestly, they'll be showing up in the background, so what I'm saying is just, I'm just blabbering on, and then things are happening in the back, and you are seeing those things. Those are the perks. I might hover over them. You see that one? Oh, there's that perk there. That thing, it does that. I can't remember all the perks, guys. I have terrible memory, and I don't have a script for this video. I don't know if you can tell, but I'm just blabbering on and on and on. All right, so off of the specific perk thing, there are perk points, and you can only equip certain amount of perks. But don't worry, you will be able to equip a lot of perks, like a lot of perks. So don't worry. But the way you get perk points is by finding hats, and these hats were like 1 perk each, 1 point each. You'll find them, they'll be on the map, they'll be yellow, there'll be a triangle. There's a map that shows you triangle, like the green triangle, which is your speed, agility orbs, and then there's your yellow ones, which are your hats. And I think there's red triangles, all the other stuff you'll get into later on. Anyway, perk points, super easy to get. You'll be able to use a lot of perks, but in the end game or post game, you realize that you can't use all of them, and you're crying like a baby because you can't just abuse every single perk in the game. But trust me, there are a lot of perks you can choose from, and you don't have to worry about running out. I'm sure there'll be a lot you don't like, and then you just use specific ones, and you won't have to worry about the cap that it gives you. Okay, so moving on to abilities. Now, little spoiler alert for these ones because they're very important, except for one, which is a grenade. Weird. Okay, that's one ability. Next one's spoiler alert for those. Okay, so the other abilities are ice, fire, and wind. Okay, so your basic 4 elements, you know, you got grenade, you got wind, you got ice, and fire. That's your basic stuff, you know, those are the 4 elements of everything. That's how the world is made. Anyway. Okay, grenade, everybody knows how to grenades work. Everybody knows. I barely use this thing when I started getting other perks. First one, wind. You get this after defeating the worm sand boss or train, sandworm train, whatever. It is one that propels you into the air, and it's really not super useful, but it does allow you to get to the artifacts, which are your end-game thing that you want. It doesn't specifically boost you, but it does get you to beat the game because it's a part of the story, so it's nothing super important. But you're doing them, there's little puzzles that you do, and you need these abilities to get into their area-specific artifacts. Alright, so moving on to the ice one, which is my favorite one because it is a free speed boost everywhere you go. It is so fun because you can just place 4 of those babies. I think that's about the max you can do in a short, like a fast pace. There is like a little bar and it goes up slowly. So 4, I think, is like, it drains your entire bar. Place 4 of those, get your grapple hook out, be on the hoverboard. You will fling forward on a slingshot. It is so fun, very enjoyable. It is my favorite one. My favorite one, definitely. Then the next one is the fire one, which it'll like propel you forward pretty much. You hold it in front of you and you're just flying that way. It is also very cool. It will get you to different areas that you couldn't get to before, unless you could do that, and I was just an idiot and somehow didn't figure it out early on. But it helped me get to little extra areas. It was interesting. Didn't use it as much as the ice one. The ice one by far is the best one in my opinion, and I loved it a lot. Alright, so let's talk about specific things that I may have missed and just other little things I'd like to tell you guys. So, first thing, I played on the hardest difficulty, which I did bring up before, and it didn't feel that difficult, but I do play the game a lot, or I play games a lot, not that game specifically, but I do play games a lot. So maybe the hardest difficulty just was baby stuff because I'm just so good at the game. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying it kind of didn't seem too crazy. I wish they did have another difficulty that upped the ante and made it so much more difficult. But still, to people who don't game a whole ton or like at least game average, I'm sure it could be a difficult game. It just wasn't super difficult for me, but I did die a lot. So that kind of says something. Next thing is the time for me to 100% complete the game, except for one achievement, which I'll get into later, was around 8 hours, which is very short for like a $20 game, but it is like an infinitely replayable game because the post game is very fun too. You 100% complete the game after the post game because you have to unlock extra things after the post game, but it is very interesting that it only took me like 8 hours to 100% the game, which I wouldn't say it's interesting, it's disappointing. But after that, you unlock all the perks and you got everything you can use. So I guess it's just infinitely replayable. You got more things you can do, replay all the levels if you want. So yeah, for me, about 8 hours to 100% complete. I am a no-life, so don't worry. Next thing, post-game will litter all the levels that you already went through, which is a open world, which is one of the things I missed, but I'm not going to get into that specifically yet. Post-game, all the levels that you interacted with now have a second little level in them that is like, it's on the same map, of course, that's how it works. But they have different little challenges like gun game, which is a perk you can also unlock. So you have this challenge for this specific level that you can unlock as a perk for the whole rest of the, like all the rest of the game that you're playing. Gun game level, I played it. I think I got gun game from that one, which would make sense, but some of them don't unlock the thing that their challenge is, which is weird. Gun game is by far my favorite perk that costs 0 points, because the post-game perks cost 0 points, depending. Most of them cost 0 points. Some of them are like actual point costing ones because they actually affect the gameplays in different ways. The free ones affect it in like a challenge way, so they don't want to make it cost points. But yeah, it post-game just litters the map with a whole ton of new things, and it's very fun. New weapons, which is the 2 new weapons I talked about before, and then other things like that. Okay, it's an open world, which I forgot to bring up before, so I'm bringing it up now. Open world game, you can fly around wherever you want to fly around, and it's just so free and fun. To me, the open world didn't feel empty, and it was very enjoyable. I have said enjoyable and fun a lot. I need to learn more things in my vocabulary, but like I was saying, I did love it. It didn't feel empty. There was enemies littered around. There was levels littered around. There was little secret chests. There was stuff like that. Felt amazing. It was awesome. Next thing is that there is multiplayer in this game, which is stupid to say 26 minutes into the video, but yes, there's multiplayer, and there's a perk that will make it where PvP is enabled. So if you want to kill your friend, activate that perk and start destroying them, because that will make the game probably more fun. Now, I have no friends, so I never got to do that. I'm just kidding. I just don't have any friends that have the game, guys. I have friends, okay? I have friends. Moving on to Chapter 5, which is going to be the bugs, similar games, and other jazz like that. So, the bugs. I talked about some bugs. I think I talked about all the bugs that bothered me, like the hooking onto the enemy and being stuck to the entity. Yeah, I already talked about the bugs, but they're really annoying. I put them up in one little package here. Like the enemy bugs, like the grapple ones that get stuck on the ground, ones that the hoverboard guys that get stuck on objects. Then the being stuck to an entity thing is just really weird. Then one of the bugs had to do with one of the bosses, which was an issue because you don't want a bug in the middle of a boss fight. But still, I played through the game and enjoyed it. Bugs can be fixed. They can be fixed later on, but it is kind of bad when this is a fully released game. But it is what it is. I'm sure it'll be fixed later on. These guys do seem to know what they're doing with the game. Guys, if it is a bunch of dudes or people, I don't know if it's just one guy or multiple people. Pretty sure it's multiple people, though. Okay. Now, similar games like this that could explain the game a little better, I would say Titanfall and Doom had a baby. I think they even say that in their trailer. Well, Doom actually is a very good example. It does feel like Doom, but open world with multiplayer and has Titanfall movement, which is just amazing. Then I'm sure Ultra Kill is something that is similar. I never played it, but when people joined my stream, they did say, wow, this is just Ultra Kill. And I was like, well, maybe it's a little different because I'm pretty sure Ultra Kill has levels. I'm not sure, but maybe it does. Pretty sure it just has levels and not open world. I wouldn't say that's the only difference. I mean, there's a hoverboard in this one, guys. Come on. I need to really play Ultra Kill. People say it's an amazing game. Okay. And then there is one final thing I would like to say. There's one game mode that I never brought up. It is the roguelike or infinite game mode or something like that. And I love roguelikes. There is a game mode that they added recently. It's a roguelike, which I just said like 3 times. I haven't played the game mode, and it will allow me to 100% complete the game, genuinely 100% complete the whole game, 100%. Base game of 100% completed. I need to do rogue. I don't know anything about it, but it seems interesting, and if you guys want to know about it, you should join the stream. That will be starting on this time that I'm putting up on the screen right now, and then join me, and we'll check out this little roguelike thing together, and have fun beating it, because I'm gonna 100% complete the game, and then we're gonna move on to a new game, because that's what's the new thing. I'm gonna be doing a bunch of different games. This is an update section. Forgot to say that to the people who don't care. Thank you for joining us. We're talking about important things. So, I am going to be doing videos like this more often. I probably will have a better laid out one next time, because I know I was just blabbering a lot and probably missed a lot, but that's okay. Things happen. I will get better at this at some point. But here are the 2 types of videos I'll be doing. 3 things I'll be doing. 2 types of videos, 1 stream thing. So I'm going to be streaming, and when I stream, it will be the clips for the videos like this that I'm doing. Okay, that's one of the types of videos. Second type of video is going to be when I record and I'm going to have friend videos. Think maybe Vanos a little bit, just something with friends. It doesn't have to be Vanos, but it's just an example. That's the other type of video I'm going to be doing every now and again. It's going to be less likely that I do it because it is harder for me to edit a video with my friends than it is to edit a video that is like 30 minutes long of me just blabbering on about a game. Yeah, join the Discord if you want. And if you guys have any tips on me doing this type of video, please leave them in the comments below because I'm not too great at this. I'm not sure if I need to make a full script. I'm not comfortable with that because it restricts me too much and kind of takes a whole lot more time than me just talking. So please, put something down below to give me some advice. Maybe tell me to slow down a little bit because I blabber on too fast, or breathe for a second because I know throughout this whole video I'm going but yeah, give me some little tips down below, and yeah, please subscribe because you got to this point of the video, or maybe you put it in the background while you're playing some Roblox game and grinding out some crappy game on Roblox because that's what you do, and that's what I do sometimes because I don't know what else to do with my life. I'm just kidding. Have a great rest of your day or night, and yeah, see ya.